Hello there. Good day. This is another episode of Woman. Today on Woman, we are going to have a conversation about food, sustainability, and advocacy. Woman sees a lot of women come through the show, and these women, trust me, I always pick one thing or the other from them. These are women who have risen through the ranks. These are women who have aced everything that they have done. And if not, it's okay, because sometimes you just have to let it slide if it's not working, right? But we seek to also inspire you and to you know that it is possible any day once you put your mind to it. And so you're welcome to Woman. My name is Lerny Lomotey. Today I have a chef in conversation with me, and so let's welcome Chef Awo. Hi, Chef.
Hi, Lenny.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I like your skirt, by the way.
you.
It's really nice, really
Thank you.
colorful. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Ghana.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How long have you been in Ghana?
I've been here for a couple of weeks, about
Okay.
2 months.
2 months. Oh, that's a long
yes.
time.
So,
That's been a long
yes.
time. When
Nice
last
to
were
be
you in
home.
Ghana?
Last year.
Okay.
I
Oh, you come often?
Yes, at least once a year I'm in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
At
nice.
the minimum, yeah.
What keeps you connected to the motherland?
Family, home, life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What makes you come back? Because you know how some people say that I'm gone and that's it. I don't want to come back. I want nothing to do with the motherland.
Oh, no, that's not my story. Home is home. I believe it doesn't matter how far you go, how long you go. There's always a little bit of home with you. There's always a little bit of peace that stays with you. And I come home to get re-energized. I come home to connect with family. I come home to refuel myself, and also take some goodies back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about the goodies that you take back.
Do you want to know what's in my bag?
I want to know. What's in yes, perfect. What's in your bag?
I'm usually taking like spices, seasonings. I'm taking things that I cannot easily find, or when I find back home. I have two.
That's
homes,
home. It's
right?
fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
where I
Understood.
find back home will be a little bit more expensive. So I'm taking my spices. I'm taking my prekese, my dawa dawa. I'm taking my huentia, selling peppers, calabash nutmeg. I'm taking all of those things home. Some suya, kebab pepper.
Okay.
Smoked fish. I'm taking everything. I look like a crazy person at the airport, but it's fine. Like,
you know,
7 suitcases, but it's okay.
When they post those videos of what's in my bag and you see wraps and wraps of things and you're like, please, are you trying to tell me that you can't find it there? Or how expensive can that be that you have to wrap, all of these things and take it back?
So for me, it's about accessibility and having it readily available for me. Do I run out and I have to go to my African market to get it? Yes. But when I'm here and I can find it at a better rate, at better price, I get it and I stock it and I always have it on hand to use. So I don't have to rush into the African market when I need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Now this is Curious Lenny coming in, right?
Okay.
Let's take it all the way back to baby Awo, right? Where was baby Awo? Where did she grow up?
Baby Awo was born in Koforidua, even though I'm 100% Ewe.
Awo, how are you even saying the Koforidua?
I was born in Koforidua.
Koforidua.
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot. I was born in Koforidua. I don't remember my years there because I left Koforidua. My mom was a travel nurse. She used to travel to Saudi Arabia, Oman, and work at the time. So in my infancy, I remember growing up with my aunt in Angloga. That's where my mom is from. Okay. And my dad is from Anyako. Okay. So
my granddad is from Angloga.
Really?
From Keta, actually. Yeah.
So I guess we're probably so I spent a few years in Angloga. I think about maybe 4 to 5. I can remember. Yeah, maybe about a year or 2 in Angloga, and then I moved back to Accra. Okay. I lived in Caprice. That was where my family stayed with my dad and my aunties. My mom still traveling back and forth. I have 2 sisters, my older sister and my younger sister. So I
oh, you're all girls?
Yes.
Okay.
quintessential middle child. If you see me, I am a middle child.
I like that you say quintessential. You
Yes.
know what they say about middle children?
Yes, proudly. I wear that badge very proudly. And we grew up in Capri. So most of my formative years were in Capri.
Okay.
Until high school. And after high school, I relocated to the United
To
States.
the United States. Okay. How was life in Anglogan like?
In Anglogan.
Mm-hmm.
I vividly remember this memory that sticks to me when I think about my years there was food. I've always been around food, but I remember my grandma one day was going to cook, and back then they had those slates that we grind the pepper on.
Yes, that's the best grinder, you know.
Yes, so I wanted to like try my hands at it. Back being a little kid, very curious, wanted to put your hands in everything. And I was told by my auntie not to do it. But being me, I still wanted to do it. So I took the grinder and I grind the pepper. And I saw how they did it. The elders did it. They would scoop it with the side of their palm into the bowl. And young me, I did that, and it was just pure pepper. It stung me so badly. I can still look. I have goosebumps just talking about the pain. And they had to put like some shea butter and all the creams on there to calm it. But that was the memory that stuck to me so much. And having to scoop water from the well. We had a well in the middle of my grandma's home, and we had a pail. I don't know how many times I dropped the pail in there. And they had to take like a fishing hook and scoop the bucket up. But those are like the two memories that really stick out to me.
Okay.
Growing up in Angloga.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the conversation about your love for being in the kitchen, or you're wanting to be in the kitchen, right? Comparing life in Angloga and Caprice, how do you say it was similar or different?
So in Angloga, I can only remember a few pieces here and there, little bits here and there, because I was still very young at the time. I think I was in Angloga until about 4 or 5 years old. But Caprice is where I really grew up, is where I matured, is where my formative years was. And life in Caprice was always a full house. I lived in a multi-generational family home from my grandparents all the way to us, the cousins. So it was my dad's family home, my aunties, uncles, cousins. There was a revolving door of one cousin coming and going. I think I would say at any given point there were about at least 20 people in my home at any given point.
That's a lot.
It was always a full house. I've told people the coal pot, in a sense, was always on because my grandma was always cooking. On both my mom and my dad's side were big cooks. My grandparents were always cooking. My grandmas, my aunties, my aunt, my mom was always cooking. And that really formed me.
Who you are today.
It's played a big role, a huge role in who I am today and how I see food and how I show love.
You touched on relocation. In the midst of all of this, family, unity, communal living, we can put it that way, right? At what point did you have to say goodbye to all of the familiar faces and say, you know what, I'm out?
Well, it wasn't my choice because I had graduated high school, and in Ghana, after high school is when you like start to live life, right? I'm out of high school. I'm about to. I think at that time there was one of my friends was into production in Osu somewhere, so they were auditioning for like this TV show that was about to go on, and I've always loved the camera. I'm like, okay, he sent me a message to come audition for a show. So I went to the audition. It went really well. They were like, oh, we will call you back, whatever. And I was home and my dad came and were like, he got posted to the United States, so we were relocating. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? I'm now about to live my best life. Like I'm about to be on the streets. not in that not in that way, but I wasn't. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It wasn't something that I had wanted to. an adventure I wanted to take, but it was a family decision. My dad was a diplomat, and so we had to relocate it to the United States. So I left Ghana December of 2006.
Wow.
And
20 years, almost 20 years.
yeah, it's like I tell you, my whole adult life has been in the United States. So that has also formed who I am today and how I view life and my philosophy on leadership and the woman I am today. Yeah.
And I'm
No pun
assuming,
intended.
right.
all
She's a
all puns
woman.
intended, actually, yeah.
And I'm assuming because both your grandmothers love to cook, at the point where you were leaving, you already picked up the culinary skill, right?
Yeah, I've been cooking since I was about 8 years old. So I've been in the kitchen. I saw a photo recently going through old family albums, and I saw a photo of me sitting in the kitchen with my mom and my older sister, like on this wooden stools that we had back in the day, and of course the coal pot. And I was like, huh, so it's always been in there. Food has always been a part of me.
Of who
I've
you
always
are.
enjoyed cooking. There were times when my dad will go to work and come back. My mom will be home, my older sister will be home, and he would just immediately call. This was around my teenage years, and he would immediately call me and be like, and in Ewe, he would say, "Awo vadaklanam," meaning I will come
Come and
cook
cook,
akpala for
yeah.
me. And I used to hate it so much. I'm like, everybody's home, why me? And I shared the story with my husband, and he was like, innately, he saw something in you. He was training you like inadvertently. And now I enjoy cooking. I come home and I cook for him, and I really enjoy it. But I've always been around food. I've always loved cooking, but I didn't think it would be a career choice.
Well, I think that at this point, you can just say thanks to your dad. It's okay.
Thank you, Daddy.
Good. Relocation and settling in. How did that work for you physically and then also mentally?
Physically, it was tough the first few months because I got to the United States in December 21st of 2006. It was middle of the winter. So it was cold. I'm like, what is this? Like, what kind of country is it? Why is it cold? Like, no amount of like clothing could keep me warm. So that was a shock. The whole scenario, everything was different to me. I've seen things on TV and stuff. So I was aware of the culture in the United States. So I adapted pretty easily on that end. But till this day, 20 years later, I don't like the cold. I still can't. I'm a summer baby. I'm born in August. Like my birthday is actually in a few days.
Oh, when is your birthday?
August 28th.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. So I'm through a summer baby, so I can't get over the cold. But emotionally, it was like moving away from somewhere that has been your refuge, moving away from home to a totally different environment, having to, I think a little bit of me was comforted because I was just starting life, like being an adult. So I adapted a little easier that way. I formed friends. So like once you start going to school, you start college, like you meet people, like-minded people, and it helps you acclimate a little better. But the biggest thing for me that I couldn't get over was the food.
Yeah. Okay. And let's go there.
Yeah. I think that was kind of what led to my career, not immediately, but over time. So I was always seeing Chinese cuisine and Italian cuisine and all these cuisines. I'm like, where's the Ghanaian food? Yeah. Like, this is what I grew up eating. This is what I know. And I'm like, I'm not seeing Ghanaian food anywhere. So I would just, in school, I would invite people randomly over the house. I'm like, come, let me make you this amazing food you've never had before, but you will love it. It's spicy, but it's good. Even after I got married. And I think that is one thing, my husband kind of just supported that. He's always been supportive, but he just, at first he didn't, like, he's like, why are you just inviting people over to the house? And but over time, he just came around to like understand that is who I am. Feeding is my love language. That is how I show love.
Okay.
And so if I make you food, you are really loved. I truly believe cooking, when you're cooking, you're using all of your senses,
Yeah.
really. You're tasting, you're smelling, you're touching, you're feeling. And that is who makes who you are.
Also, I
Yeah.
just strongly believe that your mood when you're cooking affects the food.
Yeah.
Like, please, you have to be happy when you're cooking. Because... But let's talk a bit about school, because
Yeah.
you've touched on that as well a bit, right?
Mhm.
So you did college.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Take me through your days in school. How was it like for you?
Funny thing, in high school in Ghana, I did visual arts.
Okay.
Right. So, and visual art has this connotation in Ghana, like the unserious students do visual arts.
Fortunately.
But I did visual arts, and I wanted to be a fashion designer when I was actually going back. I wanted to be a flight attendant.
Okay.
Because my aunt used to work at the airport, and every time we would visit her at the airport, I see all the flight attendants, their cute outfits, and I was like, oh, they get to travel all over the world, so I want to do that. But in high school, I did visual arts, so I wanted to do like I loved fashion. I loved to dress up. I loved putting outfits together. So I started fashion, but I realized I cannot draw for the life of me. So I started taking classes in fashion merchandising.
Okay.
So I did that for a little bit, but it wasn't clicking. And my husband at the time would every now and then be like, "Why don't you go to culinary school? Why don't you take classes?" And it wasn't anything that I'd ever thought about doing, like cooking for work. Cooking was something that was just innate in me. I didn't think I could cook and make money out of cooking, right? So I would just brush it off. I actually started taking some hospitality classes here and there, but I didn't really take it seriously. And I left college, went and had kids. And so it wasn't after my second son when my husband was like, okay, he was getting his master's at the time. And he was like, okay, when I'm done with my master's, this is your chance. Like, this is not a chance, but this is your time to go back to school and like take this culinary thing seriously. So we had moved to a different state when we moved to Kentucky at the time. And I was like, okay, I'm about to take this man seriously. So I went to the community college over there and I asked about the culinary program. And this was like in my 30s when I went to culinary school. So I asked about the program. The program director had a conversation with me and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. Kid you not, Lenny, when my first class, it was like a whole new world had opened up to me. I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. I know food, I cook, and like I experienced with cooking different cuisines and stuff, but it was more in depth. There was something learning about the fundamentals of culinary, learning about the different career paths that you can take. I was like, wow, this is quite interesting. So I took it very seriously. I graduated in about a year and a half. Actually graduated. I got pregnant with my third in culinary school, had her, went back to school 2 weeks later and graduated top of my class. Humble brag. But it was, I felt like, wow, this is my calling. This is what I actually really want to do. I could see a future in food. And that was what schooling was like in terms of getting my culinary degree. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure one word that you'd hear a lot is culinary, because that is who Chef Awo is, right? But on this note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll dig deeper into food and her love for it. Show your respect and sing for the daughters, sing for the mothers. You're welcome back from the break. This is still Woman, and we've had a good chat so far with Chef Awo. From pepper stinks to communal living to finding passion for culinary and also even developing skills through proper formal training. Chef,
Hi.
Let's talk about when you decided that, you know what, I love cooking. When you came to that realization, also because you've mentioned that you didn't like to cook as much when your dad used to push you to do it. So at which
Specifically
age?
eggplant. I enjoyed cooking.
Okay,
Just didn't like
the
cooking
eggplant is the
eggplant.
problem. Okay. So at which point did you realize that, you know what, eggplant, rice, whatever it is, you're in it. You're good.
I think it was really when I moved to the US, that was when I realized how much joy I had cooking for people. Cooking was what brought me joy. I could be in a terrible mood, immediately I get to the kitchen, I just feel zen once I start cooking for people. And I think it's the instant gratification you get from cooking for people is when they taste your food and the feeling they get after they taste the first bite, like, oh my gosh, this is so good, or is the emotions that it exudes for them is the kind of like the high I get from cooking for people. So really when I moved to the US was when I really honed in on my love for cooking. Yeah.
I know with what I'm about to ask you, it may be difficult, right? Because it's just as artists cannot choose what their favorite song is. What's your favorite food?
Favorite to eat or to cook?
Both.
My favorite food to eat is fufu and goat lice soup.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I could eat fufu every day.
I see why you were asking about the places I mentioned. Yeah, because they are chop bars. Yes. Okay.
My favorite thing to cook has evolved. I love to cook groundnut soup.
Take us through the evolution. What was it before?
Really, I didn't really have a favorite thing to cook, but now I use that as a conversation piece and I use it as an educational tool as well.
Because can you explain what you mean by that?
When I first got the US, I love groundnut soup. And in the US, I call it peanut butter soup because they don't get the correlation. I would tell people, oh, I like some of the Ghanaian dishes that we have, and I will mention groundnut soup, and they're like, what's that? And I'll say, oh, peanut butter soup is made from peanut butter, and there is a peanut butter brand called Skippy.
Okay.
And one lady asked me one time, she's like, what is peanut butter soup? Is that like Jiffy floating in water? And I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity to educate people, right? To talk about the various things that we can use peanuts for and how to really highlight it in a savory dish, especially in the US. Because in Ghana, we know groundnut soup. We love groundnut soup. Yes. And also talk about the labor of love that goes into cooking Ghanaian food. Because you can't just get up and make groundnut soup. It takes some time to develop the flavors and cook the meat and all that. And so when I make it for people, I enjoy making it and I enjoy eating it. And I use it as a tool to educate my guests and people at my dinners on the array of ingredients that we have in Ghana that we can highlight and bring awareness to.
Did she finally have a taste of your?
She did. Oh, and she loved it. She's like, oh, it reminds me of like a Thai sauce, like a Thai peanut sauce. And I'm like, yes, but with more depth.
Of course. Now, and also flying the Ghanaian flag, I've heard you mention a few times how you love to cook for people, right? What led to that decision as well, to have probably a Chef Awo dinner, if we can put it that way?
My EBV dinner.
Yeah.
So EBV is a tool that I use to. When I started after, so can we go back to
where do you want to go back to?
After culinary school, right?
Okay.
So after culinary school, I was like, now I've graduated, what am I going to do, like in terms of a career? I know I had young kids at the time, so I didn't want to work in a typical restaurant because the hours are crazy. You're working late at night, and restaurants are, back in the day, can be known to be like toxic spaces in terms of the culture, chefs yelling at people and stuff like that. So I didn't really want that to be in that culture, but I know I wanted to be in the culinary space. So after graduating, I run out the culinary school that I went to. They had a cafe that had just opened, so I ran it for a few months. And then we moved from Kentucky to North Carolina in Charlotte. So when I got to Charlotte, I was like, what am I going to do now? So I started catering. And it was mainly, we were in a church community, a church family. So it was mainly church folks who will patronize my business here and there. And at the same time, I was applying to different positions. I don't know, like 100 some plus positions I applied to.
All in the culinary
all in the
space?
culinary
Okay.
space, but not necessarily in restaurants,
Right.
right? So, because in the culinary field, you can do so many things.
Can you share with us a
Right.
list of things that you can do?
You can be a corporate chef. You can work in a hotel. You can do R&D, like research and development. You can do trainings. You can do consulting. So I was looking for stuff that had chef in the title, but not necessarily being in the kitchen cooking every day. And so I was still catering at the time, and I got a call for an interview for Compass Group, and that was the company I ended up working for.
Okay.
And Compass Group is the largest food service employer in the world. It was a travel chef position, like
Okay.
a traveling sous chef position.
Okay.
And it was where I would be traveling to different states in the United States. It was in the healthcare space.
Okay.
And that's one thing too that I tell people I mentor, all the young chefs that I mentor all the time, that you don't have to be a chef only in the hospitality space. You can be a chef in healthcare, you can be a chef in education, you can be a chef across so many different
Because everybody
sectors.
needs to eat, right?
Everybody needs to eat. Even on ships, there are chefs.
Yeah.
On ships on sea. So I got this position traveling as a sous chef all over the country in healthcare. So what we would do is, as the traveling team, when our company acquires a new account, we will go into the hospital and we will be the ones training the cooks.
Okay.
In the account. We call them accounts. And so we will go into the hospital, train the cooks on our programs, our recipes. We would put in our culinary standards, safety, sanitation, all that. And it was it was a hectic schedule. I'll be traveling for 10 days. I'll be home for 4 days, and then I'll be gone for 10 days. Shout out to my mom and my husband who held me
literally
down.
just took the question right out of my mouth, because I was going to ask, with 3 children at the time,
Yeah.
how were you able to hold it all
My
together?
mom lived with us for so long. Like, she lived in my home. So when I'm on the road, she will be holding down the fort. My husband will be dropping the kids off to school.
Shouts to them.
And I did that for 3 years straight. And I was still catering. So when I come home and I had catering gigs, I would do them. So I was just beat. And I realized at the time, getting to the 3-year mark, I'm like, okay, I've just been catering and doing all kinds of cuisine, right? When a client comes, they're like, oh, we want Ghanaian food, we want Italian food, we want whatever. I just cooked what the client wanted. But I had gotten to a place where I started with Ghanaian food. Ghanaian food was what I started cooking, even though I wasn't working at the time in culinary. It was Ghanaian food that I was sharing with people. So I was like, I'm going to use this as a vehicle to educate the culinary world on what Ghanaian food is, on our ingredients, and on our traditions. And so I took a step back from corporate culinary. I resigned from my position, and I took a year off and rebranded. I was catering at the time, so I rebranded to EVV. And
Which translates to is delicious,
delicious,
or it's sweet,
or
or it's
tasty.
nice, or it's
Yes,
tasty. In ever, yeah.
in Ewe, yes. Oh, Ewe.
Yeah.
My auntie will be rolling her eyes at me right now, but Ewe,
That's
yes. And it's kind of my love language too, and from Ghana, is paying homage to my tribe, to my lineage, and I used it as a way of hosting pop-up dinners. Okay. At a typical EVV dinner, it's usually a multi-course, so maybe 5 or 6 courses. And I tell a story with each course. So sometimes I would focus on an ingredient and tell how it relates to Ghana. Maybe is something that I grew up eating that exudes some kind of emotion, or maybe I wanted to highlight that ingredient and bring awareness, or show the different ways that we can utilize them in our Ghanaian dishes or in our Ghanaian cuisine. And so that was how I use EVV as a storytelling tool to educate and tell the story of Ghana.
Okay. So you're also championing sustainability, right? How are you blending culinary and then sustainability advocacy?
Right. I know when we hear the word sustainability, it sounds like a big word, but at its core, it's really making sure that we have enough food for the next generation to eat, right? We're making sure that we are preserving the land that is feeding us.
Mhm.
We are making sure that we are building a food system that is robust, that can sustain even when we are gone, right? We are not being disrespectful to the land. We're not wasting food
Right.
anyhow. We're making sure we have enough to eat, at the same time preserving what we have for the next future generations. And this came about when I was actually working. The first time working in Compass Group, and we're going to come back to that because I went back to Compass
Okay.
Group.
Okay.
And I started to understand where our food is coming from, our food systems, and it really stemmed from food waste because we live in a society where about 30 to 40% of the food that we produce is wasted
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And I, knowing I could just hear my mom's voice at the back of my mind. Growing up, it was nothing was ever wasted, right? Even when the tiniest bit of food, she saved it and we would repurpose it the next day and put it into something the next day. And so working in these big kitchens, these big corporations, seeing the amount of food that was going to waste triggered something in me. So I decided to educate myself a little bit more. Having a doctor as a husband, I'm always learning. There's always learning going on in my home. So I took a course with the European Institute of Innovation and Sustainability. It was a food and sustainability course, just to understand a little better what our food system looks like, in terms of what role we as chefs can do, because we as chefs are the mouthpiece for the farmers, for the land stewards, for the preservers of food, right? Because surprisingly, we are only a small part of the food system, even though we are the forefront.
Yeah.
And I took that as a big responsibility to be telling that story. So I took the course, and I actually became a champion for sustainability on my team.
Okay.
And making sure when we go into these accounts, putting in place, even if it's just starting with tracking how much food is being wasted, because you can't just put the solution doesn't come just off the bat, right? You have to track how much you're wasting, and whatever excess food you have going into the compost or into the trash, that is money value, right? Associated with that, that is dollar value, that is the CD value associated with that. So if you're throwing a bucket of rice, leftover rice, into the bin, that is like 100 CDs or 200 CDs. So over time that builds up, and that is going to hurt your revenue,
Right.
or how much money you have coming
Because
in.
they do say that in between the produce getting ready, transport, getting to the restaurant or the eatery, wherever it's going to where the consumer is done eating, in between that, there's a lot of food that could have been saved, right? Yeah. So I think I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's being the mouthpiece and telling those stories, or advocating for better production system, right? Having better infrastructure for where we have great roads, where the farmers and the producers and the purveyors can move from point A to point B, having the facilities to properly store these produce so that they're not spoiled within a few hours. Transporting from the farm to the warehouse or whatever, there is a substantial amount of waste that happens in between that too. So we as chefs are the ones cooking the food, are better advocates to tell these stories, know where the food is coming from, and tell the story, and have conversations around how we can better create a food system that is robust and sustainable for the generations to come.
Are you championing that in Ghana as well?
I am starting to. I support initiatives and organizations that are already existing, because I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. If something is already there and thriving, I'm an advocate and a support. So I support initiatives and institutions like the Ghana Food Movement, the Food Discourse are a few that I advocate for and amplify what they're doing and support what they're doing. I don't have anything of my own in Ghana. I don't see the reason why I would have to go and form something totally new when there's something already there that I can lend my voice to and champion and push them forward with the experience and the knowledge that I have. And so shout out to those two organizations that are doing great work. Good Food for All is another great one that is doing amazing stuff in the space of sustainability and our food systems, like the agri-food system.
Okay. If you have to take yourself out of the situation, let's talk in third person. Where would you want to see FVV get to in the next couple of years?
I would like to see FVV have more presence in Ghana, right? I have established, FVV has been established in the US. In Charlotte, I go around and host FVV dinners. I would love to see FVV more established in Ghana, where the name FVV is synonymous to a lot of people in the culinary space and people not in the culinary space in terms of how I translate our food, how I bring further awareness to our crops and what more we can do with them, right? That is really the premise of FVV. That is the ethos of FVV, is taking what we already have and shedding a different light on it. Like we can't, yes, we can make fufu with cassava and plantains. I know I could keep going back to fufu. We can make
It's understandable.
right? We can make eggplant with cassava and corn all the time. But what else can we do to make sure we're having a more diverse food system? And there is so much more that we can do with our current crops that needs to be told. So that is where I see FVV. That is what I aspire for FVV in Ghana, is to have more presence in Ghana and come to the dinners.
And come to the dinners. Chef, what will be your weirdest food combination?
Oh. I don't. I love boiled plantain and groundnut soup. I know. Don't knock it. I love it.
Ripe or unripe plantain?
Like just in the middle, not too ripe where it's like killy-willy ripe, no, and not hard like you would use for fufu or ampesi, but just right.
I haven't heard, but maybe I should try it before I write it.
Till you try it. I just bear with me.
I'll try.
Yeah,
I'll try.
Like good groundnut soup with boiled plantains is legit good.
Based on feedback, how have you served that at the FVV dinners first?
I have not served it at an FVV dinner.
I'm sure family has had it.
My kids will not try it. One of my sons would just eat a boiled plantain, and my daughter, she would eat groundnut soup and rice balls like traditionally. I can't even get my husband to eat it. They think it's weird.
So you are in
It's a long train, and I'm gladly riding it because I enjoy it. It's good. I know.
It's difficult to believe you. But okay, I'll try.
I'd have to go through my phone and see if I have a photo and show you.
I'll try.
Yeah.
And when I try it, you will know.
Okay.
I'll give you feedback.
Okay, great.
But also, I think it will also depend on how good the soup is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because I think that
good soup.
It's just the same as the soup determines whether you enjoy the banku, the fufu,
right? Because they're just vehicles.
Yeah.
They're just like really. Maybe I don't think fufu really doesn't have a taste. Depending on what kind of cassava you use, like the different varieties of cassava and like the type of plantain you're used to, you can get a little bit of flavor, but they're really just tools. The soup is what determines if the food was delicious or not.
Now, you did mention a lot of branches when it comes to the culinary space, right? Beyond being a chef and then also championing advocacy, what other branch do you think that you can venture into or you will want to venture into in the next few years?
So I know I said we'll go back. So after I took a year off and rebranded FVV into what it is now, I got a call back from Compass Group. And so Compass is a conglomerate of about 20 some different companies, right? And so there are different sectors that fall under the Compass Group umbrella, sectors in healthcare, in education, in sports and entertainment, in business and industry, as well as procurement. And so when I was working as a corporate chef for Morrison Healthcare, that was the subsidiary under Compass that I was with the healthcare side, I wanted, curious me is always wanting to understand where our food is coming from. Like, how do we get this tons and tons of food coming into the account and serving? Because you can go to one hospital and at any given day, you're serving about 1,200 patients for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner.
That's a lot.
So that's about like 3,600 meals a day.
Yeah.
That is a huge, and that's just one location. And there are about, gosh, thousands and thousands of hospitals all across the United States. So it got me thinking, where is this food coming from? Like, how are we getting this food to feed these people? So I started doing research to understanding the procurement piece of being a chef. And so when Compass came back calling, this was on the procurement side, which is food buy. And it was mainly working directly with our manufacturers and suppliers and distributors. So working with huge companies like Unilever, with Cisco Foods, some of the distribution channels, Tyson's Foods, all Nestle, like all these big companies, because they supply to all these different huge companies. And so understanding, going to visit their sites, going to visit their manufacturing plants, seeing how the food is made. Because as a chef, I wanted to tell a better story, right? I cannot feed people when I cannot put my stamp and live with myself when I don't believe in the practices of who is bringing my food, right? I want to make sure I am a true champion for sustainability in our food systems. So it was a great and unique opportunity to be able to work in procurement and understand that piece, understand supply chain, understand going from manufacturer to distributor to the client, getting the food to them, understanding recipe development, understanding menu engineering, building a menu that suits a client's need. That was a great opportunity for me to learn that and gain experience in that part as well. So I pride myself in being a well-rounded chef, understanding production,
everything,
and to the whole supply chain. So to your point, as a chef, you have a great opportunity. The world is pretty much your oyster in what you can do in terms of the food space, not just being a chef in a restaurant or a hotel cooking. You can go into so many different areas of being a chef, in terms of research and development, in terms of consulting, being a consultant for big companies, being a consultant for mom and pop restaurants or hotels, being a procurement chef, because as a chef, you have to understand the product before you sell it to a client to use. So if you understand what goes into making this chicken or what goes into growing this crop, you're able to tell a better story and you're able to recommend a better product for your client's needs.
Okay. All right, Chef Awo. So with this, I am sure that if you have passion for culinary or if you want to be in hospitality in any way, shape, or form, you know where to do your chase your passion, you know where to be, you know where to push yourself, and then also raking the money, of course. That is very important. We're still in conversation with Chef Awo, and the conversation, Vivi, you can say that, right?
Yes.
Let's take a break.
Show your respect and sing for the gods, sing for the mothers.
You're welcome back, guys. It's been a food conversation. Now, one thing I'm taking away from this conversation, right, is boiled plantain and granola soup. And I promise you guys, I'll try it. But Chef Awo, let's talk about mentorship, which is this segment, right? Empowered to empower. You did mention how your mom loves to cook. Both your maternal and maternal grandmothers also love to cook. And then it comes to you, right? Beyond these people as well, which people informed your food passion?
I would say really they are the biggest piece. It was mostly the village that I grew up around that shaped how I cook. Of course, being in the industry now, you see um, different chefs that you admire, that you like their cooking styles. I won't pinpoint one and say they like were very pivotal in who I am, but definitely my foundation has been the women around me, the women that I grew up around, my maternal, paternal grandmoms, my mom, my aunties. They are really the ones that shaped who I am today and how I cook. Of course, has it evolved? Yes. I don't cook the same way my mom cooks, but the foundation definitely was set.
I like that you raised that conversation as well, because you see how now a lot more people are food content creators than maybe in generations past, of course, because no social media, right? Even if you were cooking for real, for real. But I think that one conversation that comes up a lot is, no, we don't make it like this. We don't make it like that. You're not supposed to make it like this. But I also believe that as time goes, you have your own additions and subtractions when it comes to food, and then how you can arrive at the same results, right? Because I believe that sometimes whether you put in pepper first or then you put in tomato paste first, at the end of the day, it's the result and the taste that matters, and people build taste differently, right?
Yeah.
But what's your take on that?
You want to put me in trouble. So I 100% agree with what you're saying. However, there are traditions that need to be kept. Like there's some dishes or recipe. I'm not a recipe person. I follow recipes. However, I tell people, anybody that asks me for a recipe, I'm like, you don't have to do it the way I wrote it down. If you don't like onions, take out the onions. If you don't like pepper, don't put it in there. If you like more garlic, throw it in there. Who cares? Right? It's to your taste, to your point. But I also believe innovation is what grounds culture. Innovation is what preserves culture. And there are some dishes that are culturally done a certain way. Can it be tweaked to your preference? Yes. But being just strict and say, okay, it cannot be done this way, this is how it has always been done. I think it just restricts us and prevents us from evolving. So I 100% agree with you, but the substance needs to be kept. Like you can't say you're making groundnut soup and throw in like something else that has nothing to do with groundnuts. So the essence of the dish has to be there. The culture needs to be preserved, but the flavor and how you want it to taste.
Basically, the foundation is important.
Yes, the foundation is very important, but you can build up on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
In building up on it, right? You've mentioned receiving mentorship, right? Or becoming who you are today based on the women who you watched growing up. How are you also now making sure that for the next generation of food lovers or people who have any passion whatsoever, you're also holding their hands to say that, you know what, I'm here for you. Whenever you want, I'll be ready to teach.
Yeah, that is a great question. And it is something that is very important to me. I believe as a society, we have to create that space and make it possible for the next generation to thrive. It's one thing mentoring or giving access to a young chef or a young fellow coming up, but giving them the guidance to actually take full potential of that resource is what is really important. And so I partner with so many different organizations in terms of going back and having mentorship sessions, doing culinary demos. I recently, while in Ghana, still went to Ghana Food Movement and shared my story with the chefs in the kitchen there. Talked to them about my journey and what is possible in terms of cooking Ghanaian food on a global stage. Locally, back home, I have a culinary institute called the Navigate Foundation, where they invite me to come and talk to the students in the program. And so wherever I'm needed, I make myself available, because it's very important to have that guidance for the next generation that is coming before us, being a resource. And if I don't believe in, I suffered, so you have to suffer
Yeah.
too. If I've walked that path, it's so you don't have to walk that same path as well. You
Yeah.
know what not to do, or I can steer you in a different direction to get a better outcome than I did.
I like
So
that.
mentorship is very, very important to me, and
I
I
like that.
take it very seriously.
I like that.
Yeah.
Chef, I wouldn't let you slide off the show without asking you about Ghana Jollof. But I'm going to ask it in this way.
Okay.
If you had to rename Jollof, what would you call it? Same dish, same process, everything.
But Ghana jollof or just jollof?
Jollof in
If
general.
I had to name jollof, I would say one pot rice.
One pot rice.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 All right, Chef. Thank you so much, Chef Awo.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me. I've had a great time.
Yay! I'm glad you have. Now, this is from Chef. But how about you at home? Have you enjoyed it? Well, this is Woman, and Chef Awo has been our guest, okay? Full conversation, of course, if you're just watching on TV, you can find it on our YouTube 3 music networks. My name, Lerny Lomotey, the show, Woman. I'll catch you on the next one.
Who build the future? Who hold the home when it's shake? Who teach the leaders before they know what to say? Mama na power, woman na pillar. She be the fire, she be the river. If you lift a woman, you lift the nation. Bow your head.